the head coach of the Ragin Cajuns softball program, Michael Lotief.
Chris and I are going to double hit, going to tag team this because of my voice. So you don't have to put up with me the whole way. I'm very impressed with this team and their focus and their ability not to get caught up in outcomes or results or opponents or any of that stuff. That this team has a way to continue to push themselves within to just keep getting better. Every time they have a chance to get out on the field, I see a group of kids who are focused and who continue to try to work on things to make themselves better and to make us better. This weekend was fun because we got different challenges in different ways. I mean, I thought the opening doubleheader against Texas Tech was a unique challenge. And then I thought throughout the rest of the weekend that we got to see some kids that don't normally get an opportunity to get out there and do some special things. The fan base was absolutely fabulous. I can't thank our fans enough for their continued support and love for these kids and this program. It amazes me every time that I walk out there how this sport continues to grow and how involved our fans stay in the development and the success of these kids. Dr. Sava and his wife were there every game throughout the whole weekend, and he came in the locker room at the end of the day, Sunday, and I asked that question of the girls. I said, how many presidents of Division I schools are spending the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, at a girls' softball game? And they're there the entire weekend supporting those kids and supporting that program. His leadership, in my opinion, especially now in the times of the crises that our state is going through, how he continues to lead this university and this community is phenomenal. So we have great support from top to bottom. Our kids we're getting back to the grind today. We start over from scratch today. I mean, there's no parties, there's no celebrations, and our sport is back to the grind. And we're going to go back to the grind today, and we're going to get after it. We're going to get after it all this week, and then prepare for a good series this weekend. Come on, Christopher. Get your butt up there.
You kind of go through, watching this past weekend. One thing kind of stood out in my mind, and like walking down the hall, and another staff member was, kind of brought up something about how, pitchers came in, they did well this weekend, and and some may say, the competition, wasn't as strong, but they were shocked at how much the pitchers just kept coming after those hitters. At Texas Tech kind of struggled a little bit on defense, and kind of allowed them some more opportunities. And then this weekend, it kind of felt like defensively kids started to kind of focus a little bit more, and then the pitchers just were relentless going after teams. And you look through, and a couple of no hitters, one was a perfect game, and all shutouts, after the Texas Tech game, I think it kind of speaks volumes of, them kind of ignoring who the competition is and still continuing to compete. And, a couple of those were kids that have not really been given, as far as on-field competition opportunities. They've been able to come in and have success and compete and lead this team. And, I think, as Coach Mike said, we're going to start on the grind again today. You're not really looking back and, patting yourself on the back or anything like that. And I think the kids take that to heart, and they're, ready to come back and get back to it and focus on, what's next and figuring out what things we need to fix and going from there. So, we can open up to any questions you guys may have.
Coach, is being on the road, is that the big thing getting out of this coming weekend in Hattiesburg, or what's the main thing, y'all as the coaches have hope to get out of this weekend?
Well, definitely, I think, road trips always, present a challenge. Obviously, being at home these last couple of weekends, you get spoiled with your fans and the environment and, kind of being able to sleep in your own bed. But Southern Miss is going to present an opportunity to, again, be able to take ourselves out of our comfort zone a little bit, go on the road, go to somebody else's field and play a 3-game series. Basically, it's kind of like as conference gets started here soon, it's kind of a little bit of a dress rehearsal. And, being able to go out there, somebody else's field, unfamiliar territory, and still continue to work on the exact same things we've been working on to get better. I think it kind of, presents an opportunity to open that up a little, that mindset up a little bit. With that being said, I don't really feel like our kids are going to be uncomfortable, but it's just, a different situation to still continue to go out and compete.
Obviously, the pitchers were pretty dominant this weekend, but talk about how impressed you guys were with the offense. I think after this weekend, number 6 in the country in batting average. So talk about how impressed you guys have been with how you guys have been able to hit the ball around.
I think, those kids to continually go out there and compete, talking about being able to do that, on a consistent basis, to be, that high up, in the country. That means it's not 1 or 2 games. It's a continuous focus and a continuous competitive mindset. And I think for those kids to, strap it up, what was it, 4 days in a row this past weekend, and it's easy to sit back and say, man, it's tired, want to take a little bit, and not come out. But I think that speaks, volumes of the preparation and also the maturity of this team, and to understand to treat each day like it's brand new again, and to understand that you still got this day. It doesn't matter who we're playing or what they're throwing, we still got to go out and compete. And it's an opportunity for a lot of those older kids to lead, in that aspect. And, you watch a lot this weekend, and the outs were really the last couple of weeks. A lot of the outs are rockets, and there are how many balls that were, flown out at the wall that, they, were able to make plays on and in position to catch. And I've personally never seen anything like, what this lineup has. And to up and down the lineup for a pitcher to have to labor that much, that really wears down, whoever's in the other circle. I think there's only been a couple times, maybe once or twice this year, that the starting pitcher for the other team has, been able to stay in and make it through. And, you watch those older kids right now, it's fun to watch them compete and to lead this team. And, and you have some younger ones that may not be as experienced, but they feel comfortable because, a lot of what those older kids are doing. And it's pretty it's pretty neat to be a part of that.
After the game on Sunday, Coach Lotief was saying, kind of relishing in the moment, watching what this team's been able to do so far. In particular, Lexi Elkins. Talk about the start she's having. It's been almost every time you step up, you think she's gonna.
Like a normal human being at some point would probably sit back and start to press a little but with all the everybody knows who she is. There's no surprise, what an opponent's gonna, who's this? Nobody comes out here and not knows who Lexi Elkins is, and she's, you talk like she didn't even acknowledge that part of it, and she's able to treat every at bat like it's brand new, and it doesn't matter if it's one of the pitchers this weekend or Sheridan Hawkins or whoever. She's going to win, and she's, no matter what the situation is, she in her mind is going to beat whoever's in that circle. And like you talk about ability and somebody that can get to every pitch, every speed, it doesn't matter to her. And she sees it. She's locked in. There's nothing. If somebody gets her out, you really got to tip your hat to whoever it is. And she is able to hit the reset button on every single at bat and look ahead and not think, I'm supposed to do this, or now this attention's on me. I have to do. She's able to go in, reset each at bat, and treat it like it's brand new. And this weekend there's actually started to be more intentional walks, and the awesome thing is with those walks, people have been making teams pay for that too. Within a bat or two, somebody's going to hit one out or hit one in the gap, and with that happening, it really turns it back, say, well, we can't afford a walker anymore. And that, I think that speaks volumes on her, and it speaks volumes on the other players behind her that are protecting her. As long as they continue, it's gonna be very fun to watch that story unfold as we go.
Was Lexi really that skilled as a hitter when she came here, or did you guys have to work on specific things?
That's more of a Coach Mike question there. But yeah, this is my first year around Lexi. But you could probably go back and look at the numbers when she, was at Texas Tech before, and they're not remotely. They don't even look like the same person anymore. No, and I think you look at the culture here over the years to, not just hitting wise, but just winning really, and over the years here with softball in it, the culture helps. The system, the preparation, and what she brings is her work ethic and her competitiveness, and she does have, as well, in addition to all that, a very special skill set, and maybe it was unlocked when she came here, and really the rest is history. But I think that's probably a combination of a lot of different things.
Coach, are y'all worried that they're, I don't know if worried's the right word, but discuss the possibility as the season goes on, more people intentionally walking her? Is that a good thing, bad thing, or is that not really as much of a softball thing as it is a baseball?
I think as long as, we continue to have people protecting her behind, I think that's fine with us. That's more base runners and more runs. You have some people that are starting to get, and Kelsey's been getting going, for the most part. Now you have other hitters even behind Kelsey that are getting going, and I think if they're walking Lexi and we're still producing behind her, it's all gonna end up being pretty much the same result. And then they have to pitch Alexi, and everybody knows what's going to happen there. So, I think as long as, you know, we continue to produce throughout the lineup, it'll always be a great thing.
Do you think that's one of the biggest advantages your team has? I know the mentality is always it's more of a team, less of an individual, and teams are so worried about Lexi. Do you think it kind of skews how good of a season Kelsey Vincent, Shelly Landry, and everyone else are having?
Well, it can overshadow, but I know we don't. We definitely don't take that for granted. You know, you see the mindsets of those kids, and they're looking. You know, they're not quite worried about numbers. They're worried about, you know, Oklahoma City and putting us in a position to, you know, win that. And this all comes hand in hand, I would probably say, with that journey. And I think you have, you know, I probably if Lexi was on a team that didn't have as much firepower, you know, it would, you know, spotlight would be, and it would just be, oh, she's getting walked or she doing this, and, you know, but she's, you know, she gets that attention, but, you know, the others are able to help keep that going, you know, and I think if she was up here right now, she would say the exact same thing. And I'm sure she's frustrated when it happens, but at the same time, she's not going to show it. You know, she's not going to sit there and, you know, and self-pity or anything like that. You know, she's ready to look back and see who's coming up behind her and know that things are going to still be fine. So.
What about Southern Miss? What kind of team? What do y'all know about them? What do they present?
I think, you know, kind of looking at what they've done. I think last year they struggled a little bit, and this year they definitely look like they're starting to get on track a little bit more. I know they had a win over Ole Miss this past week, and, you know, I think with, you know, kind of anything, it's going to come down to how teams execute, and, you know, I think they're still trying to find their niche a little bit, but, you know, at the same time, you know, they're not going to have us go over there thinking that they're going to get beat, you know, for 3 games. I know that they're going to be ready to go. I think, you know, what happens in the circle for them is going to be a big determining factor. And you know, like I said, it's been a little bit better for them than it has been the last couple of years. But we definitely will expect them to be ready to compete as we head over there this weekend.